Back to Zack the films. Okay, shorts whatever. Okay, guys, it's just my position.
Imagine you find this weird.
Oh, bro, sorry.
Imagine you find this weird, ancient-looking device. After playing with it for a while, you realize it can rewind time by a few seconds, which at first sounds incredible. You could reset awkward situations, retry anything you mess up. You would move through life knowing that if something went wrong, you could just reset it. But now, think about how something like that could change you. Because once you stop being afraid of consequences, well, you might start wondering just how far you can push things. Eventually, you might feel too invincible. Click down here to watch the full story.
No, it is not like...
He stuck the needle into the man, watching in glee as the blood flowed up the tube and into his arm. You see, he believed that if he filled up his body with the blood from younger people, he could make his body younger than before, and even live forever. So he became obsessed, drawing blood from his students and other volunteers. And finally, after 11 blood transfusions, he noticed that his hair was growing back, while his eyesight was getting better. He wanted more. But on the 12th transfusion, the young man was sick with 2 different diseases, and their blood types didn't match. He got very sick and died, all because of the obsession he thought would make him live forever. Hi, everyone. It has tiny thrusters on its sides, designed to fire in rapid bursts, and each one would release a quick blast of gas outward, pushing the vehicle slightly in the opposite direction. So, when different thrusters fire, it can move left, right, up, or down. And when it's launched, those thrusters start firing as it closes in on the target, constantly correcting its path until it lines up with a fast-moving enemy missile and slams directly into it. As tiny, she put the squishy toy into the microwave and turned it on after she saw videos online claiming it made them extra soft. Inside the toy, the thick liquid started heating up, but when she pulled it out, hot goo burst out of the cube, exploding across her face and chest. It clung to her skin as her father desperately tried pulling it off. Doctors had to place her into a medically induced coma because the burns near her mouth could stop her from breathing. But after months of recovery, she did survive. She put the squishy toy. Snip off your fingernails and drill a tiny hole in each one. Next, sew them onto a sheet of fabric, like disgusting little ornaments. Then you would grow the next batch and do it all over again. And once you have 10,000 nails, they would cover the fabric completely, which you could then sew into a dress. But since this would take almost 400 years, you would be dead long before wearing your creepy little outfit. They hid a gorilla into a lung scan before giving them to a group of doctors. Now, they were looking for tiny signs of cancer, so they scanned through each image looking for small spots, while the picture of the gorilla was right there, 48 times bigger than the spots they were looking for. And most of them never reported seeing it, even though many looked right at it. This happened because their brains were looking for cancer, not a giant gorilla. So anything outside the task got filtered out by their brain. The experiment showed that even experts can miss something obvious when they're not expecting it. They decided to upgrade the jump scare. They plugged it into the PlayStation before connecting it to another one and repeating this hundreds of times, connecting them all together. And when they put in a blurry picture and zoomed in, each console did a little bit of the work, analyzing billions of pixels every minute. See, the military needed a system that could detect objects in blurry photos, but using computers to build it would cost over 10 times as much. So they used PlayStations instead, creating one of the military's fastest supercomputers at the time. When the heat reaches the sprinkler, it warms a tiny glass bulb inside, which is sealed with liquid. And as the temperature rises, the liquid expands until the pressure shatters the bulb. This releases the seal, and water sprays out of that one head, while every other sprinkler in the building stays sealed, unless the fire keeps growing. When the heat reaches the sprinkler, he sat down on the train and headed home. He chatted with passengers and carried his own bags. But just hours earlier, he was president of the United States. He had dropped atomic bombs that killed hundreds of thousands, ended World War II, sent young men to fight and die in Korea. But now, it was over. No Secret Service, no staff, just his wife and daughter beside him. He walked up to the same house he had left 8 years before. And when the welcome faded, it was finally quiet. Truman took his morning walks, waved at neighbors he had known since he was a boy, as if the presidency had only borrowed him. He said, imagine you're ziplining across a huge canyon, but you notice it's starting to slow down. The pulley won't move forward or back. You're incredibly high up. You obviously wait for help, but no one comes. Your harness is starting to dig into your legs. After a while, your feet go numb. You know if you pass out, you could flip upside down, and over time, this position could kill you. You think about unclipping to shimmy your way back, but you know you probably wouldn't make it. It's almost dark now. What do you do? A man cut off a small piece of rubber from a car tire and dissolve it in a special chemical. Then pour the pieces into sulfuric acid, which turns the rubber into tiny white pellets. After that, mix engine grease with a dissolving solution and freeze it into wax. Combine this with the pellets, adding plastic softeners to get the perfect stretchy texture. Drizzle in some artificial flavoring, as well as blue food coloring and titanium powder to get a stick of gum using almost none of the actual ingredients. He had a seizure, then got up and fell onto the train tracks. A stranger jumped down to help, but the train was rushing toward them, and they could both be killed if he tried to pull the man out. So he rolled them between the rails instead, and pinned him down with his own body in case he seized again. As the train passed, it was so close that it nicked the cap off his head before it screeched to a stop, and both men survived thanks to one heroic stranger. He had a seizure. As you shower, a tiny vacuum inside the drain sucks up every loose hair, then washes it, sanitizes it, and compresses it into little hair pellets. Over time, these pellets build up in a storage tank under your bathroom floor, and once the tank is full, your phone gets a notification. The app shows you your options: a wig, a winter hat, a pair of socks, and if you've been shedding enough, even a full sweater. After you choose, the system sends the pellets into a connected 3D printer where the hair is shredded, woven, and shaped into your new clothing. After just a few months, your whole family could be wearing you. As you shower, as they drive the sword, the sharp point would push through the metal rings in the chainmail, forcing them apart. Now, the sides weren't sharp like normal swords, and because it was narrow, it could slip between the cracks in plate armor. So if a soldier's spear broke during battle, cavalry could charge in with this sword, piercing straight through the gaps in enemy armor. As they drive, a particle shot down towards Earth, hit the atmosphere, and sent out even more particles flying through the air. One of them traveled all the way down and hit a computer, colliding with a single point in the system's memory and flipping a 0 to a 1. But this computer was part of Belgium's voting system, and when they checked the votes, one candidate had way more than was mathematically possible. Exactly 4,096 extra votes. Now, nobody knows for sure, but since this is exactly the error that would be caused if a 0 got flipped, well, the election may have been hacked by outer space. Particles cut the tip off a straw right before the bend. And repeat this to get 2 short tubes. Then stretch a thick rubber band over a popsicle stick and place a tube over one end before stacking another popsicle stick on top. Secure the end and repeat this on the other side. When you blow into the center, the air will shake the rubber band, creating a loud buzzing sound. Now, if you slide the tubes closer, the rubber band will vibrate faster, creating a higher pitch. And if you blow harder, it'll make it even louder, letting you play different sounds with the sound sandwich.